Governance tokens promised you a seat at the table, but nobody told you the table was on fire and the meeting started 3 hours ago. We're diving into one of crypto's most debated experiments, on-chain governance, and asking whether your vote actually matters or whether you're just clicking buttons into the void. Here's the thing. The whole premise sounds beautiful in theory, like a decentralized democracy where code replaces corrupted politicians and token holders steer billion-dollar protocols. But somewhere between the white paper and the Discord meltdown, something went sideways. And now the question isn't just philosophical, it's financial. The catalyst was simple. Projects needed a way to decentralize control without handing the keys to a single founder. So they minted governance tokens and distributed them to users, investors, and liquidity providers. What followed was a governance gold rush, with protocols like Compound, Uniswap, and MakerDAO becoming poster children for this bold new experiment in collective decision-making. Early headlines screamed about the democratization of finance, with retail holders finally getting a voice in systems that traditional banking had kept locked behind mahogany doors for centuries. Then, the voting turnout data came in, and on many major protocols, participation rates hovered below 5%, which is somehow worse than a midterm election in a town nobody's heard of. Think of it like being handed a share of a restaurant and told, you get to vote on the menu, except 98% of the shares are owned by venture capitalists who already decided on the menu last Tuesday over sushi. The philosophical promise of decentralization starts looking a lot like a very expensive illusion when whale wallets can outvote tens of thousands of retail participants in a single transaction. Psychologically, the community oscillates between righteous conviction and exhausted cynicism, with developers posting fiery governance proposals while most token holders quietly sell their positions rather than engage. Even Vitalik Buterin has warned publicly that plutocratic on-chain voting creates governance systems where money talks loudest, and that quote alone should make you pause before you stake your conviction too deep. But here's where history gets interesting. We've seen this exact pattern before in early corporate shareholder activism, where most retail investors held proxy voting rights they never exercised, and yet those systems evolved over decades into something more functional. Every governance crisis, from the Beanstalk flash loan exploit that drained $182 million in a single governance attack, to the Uniswap fee switch drama, feels catastrophic in the moment, but each one also taught the ecosystem hard lessons about attack vectors and voter apathy. The cycle here is almost embarrassingly predictable. Hype, token distribution, low participation, whale capture, scandal, reform proposal, repeat. What keeps it from being a complete circus is the genuine innovation happening at the margins, things like conviction voting, quadratic voting, and delegation systems that are slowly making governance more resistant to plutocracy. A common misconception is that governance tokens are worthless if you're not a whale. But that misses how delegation and coalition building can amplify smaller voices in meaningful ways. The misconception that governance is purely a time sink also ignores that informed participation in early-stage protocols has historically preceded some of the largest asymmetric returns in the space. The practical lesson history offers is this: treat governance participation like position sizing small, disciplined, and never emotionally charged. You don't need to vote on every proposal, any more than you need to trade every candle. Pick the decisions that materially affect protocol revenue, security, or tokenomics, and engage there with precision rather than noise. The disciplined strategy isn't to chase governance tokens as a primary thesis, but to hold them as a secondary benefit when your fundamental investment in a protocol already makes sense on its own merits. Size your exposure rationally. Delegate when you lack the bandwidth to research proposals deeply, and never let FOMO turn a governance experiment into an oversized portfolio position. At the philosophical level, on-chain governance is less a finished product and more a centuries-long experiment compressed into a few chaotic years of blockchain history. Whether it succeeds or fails as a coordination mechanism, the participants who survive and thrive will be the ones who stayed disciplined, sized correctly, and never confused idealism with strategy. If governance tokens collapse into irrelevance tomorrow, a properly sized, diversified approach means you shrug and move forward. And if they evolve into the backbone of decentralized institutions, you are already positioned and patient enough to benefit. Comfort with either outcome isn't apathy. It's the highest form of rational preparation in a market defined by uncertainty. The real edge isn't picking the right governance token, it's building the habit of systematic, unemotional decision-making that compounds quietly while everyone else is rage voting on Discord at 2 in the morning. Process beats conviction, patience beats timing, and sizing beats storytelling every single time. Whether you're navigating crypto governance, real estate investing, home contracting, or finding the right lenders to fund your next move, check out our links in the description below to see how we can help you get started.